skin so its words etch itself to the prefrontal cortex of my forever. See, I want to remember everything. Every word bouncing off my eardrums is quiet as silent symphonies. The bass runs lightning speed through my blood. My bones collapse at the sound of Africa beating from the amplifiers. My toes curl, my back arches. See, I'm the type to harmonize in the car during traffic. Like to picture myself the way my father captured me on VHS, kept my eyes closed because I've always been shy of the camera. I learned to hold on to my ride notes for dear life like headlights in a memorial site. See, I always sang to the melody of caskets dropping in the grave, feet deep, my knees buckle. At every sparrow I got my eye on. See, I believe in R&B the same way I do Whitney. There's something about the way a soul has the ability to embody the sanctity of music, the way it rids the body of pain, the way it encapsulates every pill that's been hard to swallow so you spit it out. Regurgitate the contents of every ache on each track you lay, even if sometimes it leaves scars. Marks your skin to trace you back so you never forget where you came from. We call that a relapse. See, addiction always comes at a cost, and our artists got expensive taste, and I can relate to it. My poems are starting to sound like reverb in my headphones. I can't help but want to spit a Nipsey verse over in the Lea song. Got instrumentals playing like backdrops to this marathon, and may it continue. How often do we sacrifice ourselves for the healing of others? We stand on stages with butcher knives, carving ourselves open for the audience to witness our bloodshed, and they clap. Somehow it is enjoyable and even revolutionary to slay yourself, just so someone else adopts the fearlessness to do it too. And we call it self-love. We call it an act of courage, how drained we are, but like addicts, we keep ourselves center stage. The spot lit in this full clip you pack to unload is ready. You can't not bring a gun to a gun show, but you keep it tucked until it's time to fire. Until you're ready to set flames to this stage. How ironic, our ability to bring light from the darkest places. But like addiction, there are always casualties, so you mourn your own death over and over again on repeat. But you continue to kill yourself. Because they say the best art is made when it comes from pain. When you learn to bleed at will. How we slice our immortal down to the bone. We hum hymns of freedom to bring us back to life. And as artists, we memorialize ourselves, digging up our skeletons to rebury the guilt, to pray over our shame so that our victim heals, in hopes that we make it out alive on the other side of love, on the other side of being the disappointment, being the backbone that breaks every time. May we find strength in our resilience, in our sound, in our voices.
I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home.
My mother never loved someone as much as she did him, till she had kids. But by then her broken became a weapon. Damaged by the absence of his loyalty, his kiss turned her inside out. Heartbeat bleeding on sleeves, she always wore like skin. Skin like masochist, like love that never felt as good as he did. And her mother, bred by the toughest street corners, cementing bloodstained dreams of making it rich, led her to be convinced that that eye for an eye mentality would be the reason she had lost one. Would be the reason she stared down at love through the barrel of a gun with the other one, firing with resentment. As rage conceded to heartbreak, as infidelity laid on her sheets, it's heartbreak that turned her finger into a trigger pin. And my mother found love in that man's arms at the age of 18. Her father still a story made up of fiction novels. Convolution and confusion bordered in imagination crafted to silence her curiosity. Her mother gave up on explaining his absence the day she surrendered her kids. Blisters boiled the heels of her feet from walking the heated concrete barefoot. No shoes to fill. And my mother wore shoes to fill in for her absence, and my father took the place of her weakness, took the place of the melanin she always claimed as hers but wasn't birthed with. My nana, though, was brown skinned, Afro stood tall and well built like Black Panther. Picked from the roots of cotton fields, but still wasn't strong enough to avoid falling to the hands of anger at 6. I watched my sister be beaten by anger, by rage, by the hands of a mother whose heart broke as hard as the end of a broomstick, whose infuriation turned the melanin from my sister's skin blue. Like mine bruised at 8 and at 10, and my hate didn't really stop until about the age of 22. I heard my sister scream as loud as her broken would allow her. My father gone, left my mother with 2 babies to raise unstable, pulled on her heartstrings as hard as he worked to charm her when he came home. My mother always allowed him home. Love always felt like home, broken and unstable, but forgiving and dependable, like the best and the worst of both worlds, but you just couldn't have one without the other.
Come on.
And I always thought I could bring food to the table. But I never really learned how to cook. Never really learned how not to burn the food on the outside before it was done, like chicken when it's fried. The outside looks so good, but the inside is still bleeding and raw and cold and poison. My mother still hurt. My father still gone. My nana dead. My sister bruised, and I'm still poisoned. Still beating on abandonment like it owed me something. Like walking out isn't forever. Even when they choose to come back and I choose to let them in, still blaming my mother for my anger. Still picture my father's forehead split when infidelity crept up on his bed. My mother still denies I cried for help, for comfort. Still holds my hands with the same palms that she slapped me with. The same fist that kissed my skin and turned it inside out broken. But I still love her. I still forgive her. And I'm still asking for forgiveness. And you know, they say the apple don't fall too far from the tree. And that be the same tree that feeds my relationships. The same apple that turned Eve into a sinner. Defiance still lays blankets on the beds that I sleep in. Anger still has its way of tying its noose around my neck, and I'm still choking. Still struggling to breathe. Still hoping. Still in need of comfort. Still helpless and alone. Still angel with no wings. Still just her kid. Still masochist. Still weapon. Still love. Still love. Still love. When your soul holds your mind to the top of its highest standards, then your heart will follow. Be brave. Be curious enough to yearn for another answer. Be calm so that you are able to hear and listen real close. Don't blow it. Allow your confidence to exude your worth as you acknowledge its importance. Don't choke. Life has a way of forcing your hands to swallow it, but keep them raised. Keep them in surrender, because this pain too shall pass. This rain too shall pass. Look for God to reveal its rainbow so that you are assured your colors are safe. Yes. Replace perception with your voice so that you never lose your faith. Believe in you, because nobody can take that away but you. Stay true to the blood that charges passion through your veins and be still, if only for a moment, so that you're able to feel the energy within it, love. Like hate doesn't speak maliciously on your tongue. Don't let it taste like salt. Don't let it abuse your power. Your voice is power. Don't let it fool you into thinking that you are privileged without it, that you're better off being silent. Like words can't fight it. Like your words are worth breaking the chains that brought us here. Like your words are worth breaking the chains that brought us here. Let's go. Get it. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Energy. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Breathe, baby. Yeah. Breathe, baby. Go, breathe. Walk to the breathe. When you realize your peace is a lot lighter to carry in a way to pride to be easy to let go. When your soul holds your mind to the top of its highest standards and your heart will follow, be brave. Be curious enough to yearn for another answer. Be calm so that you're able to hear and listen real close. Don't blow it. Allow your confidence to exude your worth as you acknowledge its importance. Don't choke. Life has a way of forcing your hands to swallow it, but keep them raised. Keep them in surrender, because this pain too shall pass. This rain too shall pass. Look for God to reveal its rainbow so that you are assured your colors are safe. Replace perception with your voice so that you never lose your faith. Believe in you, because nobody can take that away but you. Stay true to the blood that charges passion through your veins and be still, if only for a moment, so that you're able to feel the energy within it, love. Like hate doesn't speak maliciously on your tongue. Don't let it taste like salt. Don't let it abuse your power. Your voice is power. Don't let it fool you into thinking that you are privileged without it, that you're better off being silent. Like words can't fight it. Like your words are worth breaking the chains that brought us here. Like your words can't heal the wounds that I've been licked by the whips of their staff. Don't let it hurt more than you're able to feel. Don't be numb. Fight the urge to become victim. Don't succumb to this pain. Let it use you. Let it pour from the brittle in your bones so that it becomes the strength in your vertebrae. Stand tall and be firm. Let society get her to break you. Persistent every time your soul's hit the ground. March until the callus is on your feet. Bleed for once was dead and still now. Grieve while you can and for as long as you need to, because everyone loses a little bit of themselves, but don't let it become something you're used to. It helps to scream louder than the voices in your head. So don't let them fall dead. Be vibrant, be kind, be a little less of them and more of you. Be fierce, be smooth, be as cool as you used to, as youthful as the optimism in your reflections when you used to be. Less hurt, less pain, when your gain of strength is more insistent than your thoughts are negative. Be vain, be less cocky and a little more humble. Be humble, receive blessings as if they are a rarity and as if you wouldn't have made it without one. Be free, freedom, be free. And don't sit in this cavity of darkness. Be light. Shine brighter so that your days will be longer than your nights, and cry, even if you are afraid to. Let your tears wash away the fears of putting yourself first. Remember that it is your turn. Remember that you earned your right to fight back. So right to fight that urge to close your fists and open your palms. Push the pen through your fingertips and preach the word as the church was in the center of your living room. Your tongue is an instrument of justice, so be sure to sing melodically in unison with your heartstrings. Play tunes of revolution and give hope where the deprivation of allegiance is potent. And be consistent. Just promise you'll remain patient so that your desire to change and your unwillingness to remain complacent in this world is always present. Oh, yeah.